Welcome. We begin the programme this hour with the unrest in Mali. The country's security forces are reeling from a series of coordinated al-Qaeda and rebel attacks over the weekend. Among the casualties was the defence minister of Mali, who was killed in a suicide bombing. His funeral is being held today, as you can see in the footage there. Now, those attacks over the weekend were not just a major blow to the junta in Mali, but also to Russia, which has acted as a security guarantor for the army and had even trained the defence minister himself. Despite the offensive, today, though, Moscow says its paramilitaries are staying in the country. Ellen Gainsford has our report.
The head of Mali's junta, General Assimi Goïta, chaired a meeting on the security crisis in the country this Wednesday. Mali's military authorities are dealing with the fallout from coordinated attacks by the Azawad Liberation Front and the jihadist group Jenin conducted over the weekend.
He provided us with his guidance and instructions regarding the new measures to be taken. We come out of this Higher Council of Defense meeting this morning very reassured.
Also on Wednesday, the Malian army conducted strikes on the key northern city of Kidal, which separatists claim to have succeeded in capturing. And Tuareg rebels attacked a military camp in the Timbuktu region. Meanwhile, the Tuareg group, the Azawad Liberation Front, has said their goal is to expand control further, taking cities including Gal, Menaka and Taudeni. Their spokesperson also called for the retreat of Russian forces, who are assisting the Malian military.
Our goal is for Russia to withdraw permanently from Azawad-controlled areas and ultimately from all of Mali. Our problem is political. It's a long-standing conflict. I'd even say it predates Mali's independence. And it involves the legitimate demands of the people of Azawad. So we see Russia's intervention in support of the junta negatively.
Meanwhile, the jihadist group Jenin, who are allies of the Tuareg separatists, announced a blockade on all roads leading into Bamako, saying no one will be allowed to enter the capital.
Well, to talk a bit more then about Mali and particularly Russia's evolving strategy there, I'm pleased to welcome live to the programme Ulf Laessing. He works at the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung think tank and is normally based in Mali itself. Welcome to the programme and thank you for speaking to us.
Thanks for having me.
Look, we'll come in a moment to Russia, but first let's talk broadly about the security situation in Mali. It's been 4 days since those major attacks. What's your understanding then of the situation right now? Is the army in control?
Yeah, they're in damage control mode. I mean, the defense minister is gone, but President Goïta showed up this week, gave a brief speech. He didn't say much, but yeah, they're trying to manage for now to give a sense of normalcy. I mean, jihadists have said they want to block the roads to Bamako. It remains to be seen whether they succeed with that, but it obviously adds to the whole uncertainty. In the north, I mean, the only good news is that, I mean, the Russians pulled out of Kidal and a couple of other small outposts, but they're not making progress. I mean, this Azawad Tuaregs taking bigger cities so far. I mean, the Russians are fighting for Menaka, which is, it's a larger city than Kidal, which is just a Tuareg city. So, yeah, it's more or less okay for the time being, but you don't know what the next days will bring.
And look, tell us a bit about the aims here. We have the Tuaregs, a separatist group, and we have this al-Qaeda affiliated group, Jenin. Do they have the same aim now?
I mean, they're strange bedfellows. I mean, the jihadists, they want Islamic Sharia, basically, and Azawad or Tuaregs, they want to be left alone in northern Mali. I mean, they worked together in 2012 when they, took over northern Mali until the French army, pushed them away. But then they quickly fell out. The jihadists then got rid of the jihadists. So it's a tactical alliance. It will unravel, relatively quickly. But for the time being, they decided to maximize input by working together. But it's very tactical. They can't agree on anything beyond getting rid of the government.
And before we come on to Russia directly, how big a blow to the Malian junta is the killing, would you say, of the defence minister himself?
Yeah, he was the one who came up with the idea to work with Russia, bring in its mercenaries and break with France and pretty much of the rest of the world. So, yeah, that there were said to be tensions always between him and the President Goita. Maybe that kind of frees up Goita a bit, who's seen to be a bit more, someone who doesn't want to work only with Russia, but options are limited. Russia will stay. I mean, both sides need each other. I mean, Mali needs Russia for its protection, and the Russians, they also need to show they're actually of any use, after they withdraw from Kidal, unless their reputation in Africa is completely gone.
Okay, so let's delve a bit more into that then. You mentioned a few different aspects of what Russia is doing. As you say, they pulled out of Kidal, this northern town, as the attacks were taking place. Why do you think they did that? Did they not want to directly fight the Tuaregs, Al-Qaeda, or was there some kind of coordination with those groups to get the Russian soldiers out?
I think there was a tactic agreement. I mean, the Africa Corps is different from the Wagner. In Wagner, this group founded by Prigozhin was first in Mali, and they were really these Rambo-type fighters. They would never miss a battle. Africa Corps now belongs to the, Russian Defense Ministry, and Russia is conscious not to have too many casualties now on its own side. They had a major defeat, Wagner, in July 24 up in the north, which was really damaging to Russia's reputation. So they obviously thought now with Kidal, it will be difficult, will be a hard battle. Let's move out our guys before there are too many videos with dead comrades on, to be seen.
And you did touch on this earlier, but help us understand why Mali in particular is so important to Russia now. There has been some talk, hasn't there, of accessing Mali's mineral wealth.
Yeah, I mean, in other African countries such as the Central African Republic, they're mining for gold and diamonds. And in the Sahel and Mali, their main goal was really to sell their military services. They were claiming, we're different than France or NATO. Would have never abandoned Afghanistan like NATO did in 21, and we're here to improve security. So it was like a test for Wagner to sell its services across Africa by doing a good job in Mali, and that they obviously failed. So that's why now Russia's reputation is on the line, because all these promises of security are false. Since they arrived in late 21, the conflict has gotten much worse because they're also very brutal. They kill many civilians, and if there's a battle, like in Kidal, they shy away from it.
So they've been humiliated here, you say, the Russians, but nonetheless, in your analysis, they are likely to stay in the country.
Yeah, I mean, Mali needs them. There's nobody else left. France is gone. They kicked out the UN peacekeeping mission, and they're the only option they have. They also buy, drones from Turkey, but Turkey doesn't send fighters. And yeah, for Russia, it's really, they have to show now they protect the capital and the government, and they stop this jihadist, blockade on Bamako. Just otherwise, nobody else will, what's left of their reputation really hangs in balance, and it depends on whether they're able to, defend this government. Otherwise, nobody's going to contract them again in Africa.
All right, Ulf Laessing, thanks for your analysis. Good to speak to you.
Thank you.